Yo, what's up guys, it's Exynos here, and today I'm bringing you a video to talk to you about 5 new little tidbits of Xbox One information that's come out today. And they're all big. One of them involves playing Xbox offline, one of them involves used games, one of them involves letting your friend borrow games, then there's some info on Kinect, and something else. What was it? It was the Xbox One family plan thing. And I'll talk about them pretty much in order, so let's get started because you guys probably want to know what the hell's going on. So first off, the Xbox One does need to be connected to the internet every 24 hours. About 3 weeks ago, Kotaku reported that it was going to be a requirement, but Microsoft never confirmed or denied it. Now we found out it is official. Here is an exact quote from Microsoft. With Xbox One, you can game offline for up to 24 hours on your primary console, or 1 hour if you are logged on to a separate console accessing your library. Offline gaming is not possible after these prescribed times until you reestablish a connection, but you can still watch live TV and enjoy Blu-ray and DVD movies. Now, I will talk about the whole being logged on to another console and having to check every hour if you're like separate console for your library. I'll talk about that when I get to the family plan stuff because that's what that's all about. But the main thing that people care about is the every 24 hours. So that means if something happens and you don't have internet for a while, you're kind of screwed. If, I don't know, Microsoft servers go down, your system becomes useless. So this is not going to be a system that 20 years from now people will still be playing. Whereas you have things like the NES, things like the Nintendo 64, the GameCube, all of those can be played forever, even the current gen consoles, until the hardware itself goes out. This one, whenever Microsoft deems that the cost of keeping the servers up is not enough, you're screwed over. That is not going to make very many people happy. Most people are not going to be okay with this. So this is something a lot of you are going to have to consider when it comes to next-gen systems. Now, I'm pretty sure that the PlayStation 4 can be played offline, but I don't think we've actually had 100% confirmation on this. So this could be a big deciding factor. If PlayStation can play games offline forever, and Xbox One requires it, then it's going to get pretty interesting. Now, here's an important other little excerpt about the quote about the big announcement. It's not a quote because this is a separate quote from the same thing. But it says, while a persistent connection is not required, Xbox One is designed to verify if system, application, or game updates are needed, and to see if you have acquired new games, resold, traded in, or given your game to a friend. Games that are designed to take advantage of the cloud may require a connection. So the internet connection, that's why you can still watch TV and Blu-ray movies and stuff, is those don't require it. The system itself doesn't require it. Playing games do, so that you can verify their new used game system to make sure that you don't give away your games or let people borrow them, blah 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 blah. Who the fuck cares? Let us play offline. Now, how does it go as far as the used games? Well, it's been confirmed that you will be able to trade in games, but only at certain retailers, only certain games, because it's up to the publisher whether or not this is going to work for that specific game. So that means you might have Call of Duty that's able to be traded in, but Battlefield might not be able to be traded in. That's going to create a whole lot of chaos for consumers not knowing which games they can get used, which games they can't. It's going to cause a whole lot of issues for people like me that work at GameStop, because then people people are going to come in and try to trade in games. They're going to have a huge stack. Half of them they might be able to trade in, half of them they won't. They'll be like, well, why can't we? And we'll be like, because EA, or because Activision, or because Microsoft is stupid for letting them do this. Now, I understand why they want to do it. It's completely valid in their reasoning. I mean, they want to make money off of the games that get sold. But this isn't the right way to do it. I think that what should happen is the publishers already have contracts with GameStop. They already have contracts with all these people. Well, what they need to do is renegotiate those contracts so that it says, hey, out of every used game sold, we get like $1. Well, $1 is not a lot for a game sold. It's a lot more than they're making now. They would make a lot of money. And I think that would be a far better option than putting a burden on consumers. Affecting consumers is not the way to do it. So, what about lending a game to a friend? Well, we have this quote from Microsoft. Xbox One is designed so game publishers can enable you to give your disc-based games to your friends. There are no fees charged as part of these transfers. There are 2 requirements. You can only give them to people who have been on your friends list for at least 30 days, and each game can only be given once. Now, the worst thing right here is the game publishers can enable you to give your disc-based games to your friends. That means that if a publisher decides they don't want to, they won't even let your friend borrow a game. Now that seems kind of stupid to me, because if I let a friend borrow a game and they really like it, they'll probably go buy it. This is stopping them from being able to essentially have a full trial of the game. Demos don't really show games accurately, so a lot of people don't take them as whether or not they're going to buy the game based off of that, because demos are set up to be probably the best parts of games so that you want to buy it. Now, it's a lot like Steam and it's a lot like iOS, in which you can't give someone a game very easily, and it's also a lot like Kindle, where you can loan someone a game, on Kindle you can loan people books, which I understand that, but those are digital copies. Those would have different rules and stipulations than I bought this physical media, something that I can actually hand them, but even if I hand it to them, who cares? It doesn't do anything. Now I understand you can buy PC games, and once the activations code's used, blah 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 blah. But one of the biggest issues with this also is the change. PC gamers have been used to not being able to let friends borrow games for a long time. Not so much for console gamers. Console gamers are not going to like this. People that have never used Steam, people that have never done that. It's just too big of a change. It's something that they slowly should have implemented. And also, another thing, you buy a game at launch, it won't necessarily be loanable, because at launch this is not a feature that will be on console. That's another weird thing, is how long is it going to take to get this? We don't know. So, just a whole lot of really weird things as far as the negative. Now, there are some not bad news. It's not necessarily good news, but yeah, Kinect. They did confirm you will be able to completely turn it off, from what I'm to understand. Now, I don't know if that means that even when it's plugged in, it's off when the system's on, but you can pause it, quote-unquote, while gaming. So, there's that. And the last bit of information for this video is something I actually think is pretty cool. You can set up these Xbox families, in which you can have up to 10 people in these families, and whomever is in these families can essentially all have the same game library. So I buy a digital copy of a full game like Forza, everyone in my family has it. Now this is where you get the things like the 1 hour stipulation for having to have console. The primary console, the primary person, family member, only has to connect every 24 hours, but the other people have to connect every hour. So that seems kind of weird to me. Why wouldn't they have the same connection time requirement? But I don't know what Microsoft's deal is with that. But here's the quote from Microsoft. Xbox One will enable new forms of access for families. Up to 10 members of your family can log in and play from your shared games library on any Xbox One. Just like today, a family member can play your copy of Forza Motorsports at a friend's house. Only now, they will not just see Forza, but all of your shared games. You can always play your games, and any one of your family members can be playing from your shared library at a given time. Now, what I want to know is, will I be able to start up a family plan with my friends and do that, share games through that, or do they have some sort of verification method through it? They haven't really confirmed that. We'll see. Also, is there a specific way to get games in a shared game library? Because they do specify shared games. So, do you have to pay extra for these shared games, or is it a standard feature on games and they're just wording it special? None of this stuff is really all that clear, and Microsoft honestly did not have a good day for news. Like, the Kotaku article I found all this information on is literally, the Xbox One just had a very bad day. And I got very curious on this, and as I went to reading it, I figured you guys probably want to know this, so I made this video. Now, E3's right around the corner. Microsoft is really going to have to impress to get consumers to buy their console, because as of right now, nothing good has come from any announcement that they've done. Cool. They have, honestly, I think the best thing for the console, actually, now that I'm thinking about it, is the exclusive FIFA con. Because Europe loves FIFA. So much so that that could be a deciding factor in what a lot of people buy for their system. One of the most popular modes is exclusive to the Xbox One. Microsoft was very smart in buying that exclusivity. Also, apparently EA and Sony aren't on the best of grounds, which is why Microsoft had the chance to do this. So we'll see how this plays out for Microsoft. I went way over on the gameplay, so I don't know what else I'm going to fill this with. I just realized that. Sorry guys if there's black screen. I don't really know what I'm going to put for now. But, yeah, I'm going to end it here. And let me know what you guys think of all this information, because there is a lot to think about when you choose your next console. Now, it's very possible that Sony is going to have all of these same stipulations. We don't know. Sony hasn't confirmed or denied these either. It's very possible that what Sony was doing, and their smart choice, was they hadn't actually finalized the ideas, and they were waiting to see what Microsoft did. If Microsoft said no, Sony would go with no. That way, Sony didn't seem like the bad guy. If Microsoft went with yes, Sony could go with yes, because that's something that they want to do anyway, and it would just make them on equal ground. Currently, if they do that, the consoles are pretty much going to be equal, and you will decide based off of fanboyism and exclusive games. That's pretty much going to be the deciding factor for a lot of people. But, should Sony be the good guy in this entire situation and not have any of the same stipulations Microsoft does, they pretty much won the console generation. And if they were smart, they would put off on the used games and put off on the internet connection requirement for this generation. While it won't be as good publisher-wise, they won't be as happy, it will certainly give them the advantage in console sales for this gen. So, yes. If you guys want more E3 news, because E3 is coming up pretty quick, and I plan on making a lot of videos, subscribe, like, favorite, all that stuff. Make me motivated to make these videos so you guys get the best information as fast as possible, because I plan on watching all of the press conferences live. I've pretty much set aside my Monday for it, requested the day off of work, which I probably wouldn't have gotten anyway, and all the employees at GameStop understand, so it's not a big deal. But, yeah, pretty much, Monday is E3. I am prepared for E3, that's my day. Bye.